Everybody, welcome back to Beyond the Beat. My name is Dave McKenzie. It's another Metric Monday. We're going to groove another beat in Luna, and today we're going to be working with melody. So you don't necessarily have to use drum samples to tweak cool beats in Luna. You can actually take a scale, and you can take those individual notes, and you can make a beat with the scale, which is just making a melody. So I'm going to teach you how to do that, assemble it into a cool little riff, a cool little song, and it's going to be really informative. Guys, don't forget to like the channel, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, leave a comment. Every time you guys leave a comment or you just do something on the channel, you get another chance to win this guitar in the draw. We're drawing this guitar on February the 11th. I'm going to give it to someone in the school or outside of the school, but you just have to sort of participate on our YouTube channel. So I hope you guys like the channel. We love keeping it cool for you guys and making lots of beats and just teaching you guys how to do all kinds of cool stuff. So stay tuned for more videos, and peace out, everybody. So in today's session, we're going to be doing something really interesting. Now, you don't necessarily have to use drum notes. You can actually use melodic notes. Here's our entire grid. We've got the grid set to 16th notes. We've evolved a little bit. There's a way that you can toggle between 16th notes, quarter notes, 8th notes, 32nd notes. If you don't understand what those notes are, it's really simple. All right, it's really simple math. It's just like fractions. All right, so here from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, we have an entire measure. You can see it's broken up into 1, 2, 3, 4 beats. Okay, that's because we're in 4/4 time. If we break that down, you can see here it's highlighted. It's in 4/4 time. So here we can decide what the grid value is. So it's at 16. If we wanted like super fast notes, we would go to 32nd notes. If we wanted really like slow notes, we would just go down to quarter notes. Here for quarters, it would just sort of, that's right. That's quite low. Let's pitch this up an octave. Shift up arrow. That's right. So shift up arrow brings everything up an octave. All right. So what I want to talk a little bit about today is some basic music theory, and we're going to apply it to making a beat with actual notes. I think I'm going to change the synth sound. Right. When I have my clip highlighted, it's very easy to highlight a clip. You go to the top of the clip, and this is called the clip header over here. See where the big arrow is pointing? You simply click on that and your entire clip is highlighted. When you press play, about that. When you click on the lines, that brings you in. So now we can see all the different parts that we could potentially layer. We're just working with one part right now, and we've got leads highlighted. So as I press play with my space bar on my keyboard, on my typing keyboard, we can toggle through the sounds. With the up arrows or down arrows. Oh, I do like this. This sounds really cool. This is called the distant saw lead, and we're going to play with this today. All right? Unless I got annoyed with it, and then we might change it. So, like I said before, the grid values are all up here. You can change your grid values if you wanted faster grid values. 8th notes would mean that there are 8th notes available within the 4-beat bar. Okay, or measure. You could call it a measure or a bar. So we can hit all of those up, and then now we can fit. Now keep in mind, with the key of C, we are only playing the white keys. That's the easiest way to play out of a key in music on the piano is to just play out of the white keys, and that gives you the entire key of C. The pattern that it makes is tone, right? It's 2 notes is a tone, and then another 2 notes, and then a semitone here. Naturally, between E and F, there's no black key, so we have a semitone, and then we have a tone, 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 and then from B to C is a semitone. And now we have an octave evenly spaced out over the entire 4-beat measure. There's two notes for every beat. These are 8th notes. So eighth notes are quite zippy. They're quick. You can go faster. We can toggle up. Now it's cumbersome to go up here with your mouse every time that you want to do it. So now we're in 16th notes. The best way to do it is to just hit Control and then the plus sign. Actually, Shift plus or minus. Shift plus or minus. You may not see it here, but if you look at the lines on my keyboard, you'll notice that the grid value changes every time I hit plus or minus. All right? So I'm going plus, and that brings us to 16th notes. Now we have something that's extremely zippy. Now we can hit 16th note, 16 notes within the course of the one measure. And then just to sort of give it an unfinished ending, and then it'll start again at C here. So you hear that is very quick. We're at 120 beats per minute. I'm going to hit my T key to expand. So here we have the entire key of C, just sort of going up and down. We could actually just do that. To make it a little bit more, we could bring that back to the octave. Now we've got the scale going ascending, hitting the top note of C, and descending. And then we jump up with an octave, and then it starts over again. Doesn't quite do it for me. Right? So that's how a scale works. Now, within the key of C, there are 7 modes. All right? I don't want to get too deep in music theory with you, but this is very simple. This is a very simple concept, okay? And I'm gonna show it to you right now. So we're gonna get rid of this measure, and we're going to start again. And what we'll do is we will go up. Let's change it to 8th notes. Okay, so rather than go up with my mouse, what am I going to do? Shift, and then we'll do minus, and that brings it to 8th notes. Okay, so now, and it's in snap mode, so all of my notes snap to the grid. Okay, so there is the first mode in C. That's the major scale, that's C. Now, if on my keyboard I hit Apple or Command D, we've duplicated the measure now. And we just have another C major scale, correct? So it starts on C and it ends on C. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this note, the C. I'm going to highlight all of these notes and move them back. And now we're starting on the D note, but yet we're still in the key of C. Now we're missing a note at the end because I erased the C, and we're going to put another D at the top. Now this is the second mode in the key of C. There are only 7 notes in C, and consequently there are 7 modes. So that's your Dorian mode, all right? So that's the second mode, and it's built off of the second scale. It's a very simple idea. The Ionian mode, or C major, starts on C, the first note in the scale, right? C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Now, if we were to start the scale on D, this is the Dorian mode, and then consequently it has to go all the way up to D, which we've done. So now we've got the Ionian mode and the Dorian mode together. You can listen to them. And this is basic harmony. Now what we'll do is we'll copy this, Command D. Now we've got the Dorian mode twice, but what we want to do is we want to create, so we're going to get rid of the D, the next mode. Can anyone guess what that next mode is? The next mode starts on the E note. You don't really need to know the names, but I'll tell you what the names are. This is Phrygian. This is the third mode in the key of C. So now we've got the first 3 modes. There are only 7 modes in the key. I've hit shift, and then in the header on this first clip, I've clicked with my mouse, and that's highlighted all 3 modes, right? And I can hit play. And we're taught, and what's happening is we're just playing up the modes. This is C Ionian or C major, then it goes to the D Dorian, and then the E Phrygian. And what we're going to do is we're going to just plug in, just so that you have a sense of the music theory, the next mode. So this next mode is Lydian. So we'll get rid of the E note because we don't want to start on E. We're going to highlight all of these notes and drag them back so that now F is the starting note. And what I'll do is I'll just bring this up a little bit so we can see. And we're going to add an F here. And you notice we go to the next mode very easily. So now we've got 4 modes. Again, I can shift, click the header, hit the RT to shrink the whole 4 clips down, and hit spacebar to listen. Beautiful. Okay, so it's just very, linear right now, but this is going to get really cool when we start being creative with it, all right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate the F Lydian mode, and we're going to take the bass note away, which is F. We're going to lasso all of these notes again. We're going to drag them back 1 note, and we're going to put the, so this is the G, okay? So now this is a Mixolydian mode. A very nice sounding mode, I might add. And we've got 2 more to do. All right, so I'm going to duplicate this, take the bass note, lasso all of these notes, drag them back 1, and then I'm just going to bring this, I'm going to toggle this up a little bit. And now we've got it starts on A, and this is called just Aeolian. It's the 6th mode. And it happens to be the natural minor scale. Every time you have a major scale, on the 6th note is the natural minor scale. So the minor scale shares the key signature with the major scale. That's really important to remember. You should know that for every single key. And that's like knowing your times tables for simple math. Music is math in a way, which is scary to some that play by feel, like myself, but it is true. So you really do need to take the time to learn this. So Aeolian is a beautiful minor scale, and I'm going to copy that scale over, get rid of the bass note, which is A, and now it's starting on B. This is the strangest sounding mode. This is Locrian, and this sends us back to and then if we were to copy it over again, and we took the B away, here we now have C. And then, so we've got C, which is 1 octave up from the initial C. So if we listen to the whole pattern, it gives you every single mode. And all we've done is we've just played 7 scales. Now, if we play within those scales to make a song, we can have a lot of fun. Each one of these modes can be numbered 1 to 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Most pop songs really lean heavily in the major, if you're playing out of a major scale, on the 1, the 4, and 5. Those 3 chords are all major within the key, all right? And then, in fact, 1, 4, 5, and 6 are used in just so many songs. It's endless. It will forever be the backbone of a lot of the hits that you're going to hear on the radio until something drastic changes. I don't know what that will ever be, but the radio maybe isn't even a factor anymore, to be honest. But so you can make patterns with the first mode, the second, the third, or sorry, the 4th mode and the 5th. to keep things simple for yourself, right? So let's get rid of these other modes. Maybe we'll keep the sixth mode, the Aeolian, all right? So the 1, the 4, the 5, and the 6, okay? And we'll just get rid of these guys for now, okay? So now we can sort of play with things in a way that we want. So we can take so now we've got the 4th mode first. What's going on here? Why I can't see this? Oh, I guess that makes sense. Why I wouldn't see it. We got 4th first. Maybe we'll duplicate the 1st. And this is not really, I'm not doing anything musical. I'm just playing with this. And then, so now we've got 5 measures. This is the 6th. Maybe we'll duplicate that and we'll just see what this sounds like. All right. Okay, so it's gotten a little abstract for my liking. Let's change pace a bit, okay? So what we're going to do is, this is the first one here. This is the first mode. So let's focus on that for a little bit. Let's just start with the major scale. I'm going to bring this toggle down so that we can see it all. And I'm going to expand it. And we've got all the notes in C. Now, I want to call attention to something here. The way chords are built within the modes is you skip every other note. So if we take the 2nd note of C and we get rid of it, we take the 3rd and we leave it, we take the 4th and we get rid of it, and we take the 5th and we leave it, and then we get rid of these. Now we've got the scale. So this is considered an arpeggio. So we can go to the 5th, down to the 3rd, and then go to the octave, and then play within those notes. And this will sound an arpeggio. So we're just taking certain notes from this mode. So that's kind of cool, right? That's sort of a simple, basic idea, but we can copy that twice. So now we've got the first mode, and we've built a little triad, a little 3-note chord off of it, and we've played a pattern. And so what we have here is we have 2 measures of the C chord. Now, do you remember what the next mode is? This. So what note is that? C, D, E, F. So what we need now is F. Where is F? Here's F. So we're going to get the 4th. We're going to drop this in. And we're going to go through a similar process. All right, so we're going to take the F, and we'll keep the root note. We'll skip the 2nd note and the 4th note, and we'll leave the 1, 3, 5. We'll get rid of 6 and 7, and we can sort of play with this, right? So we've got the 1, the 3, and the 5. And then here's an F again, right? And then we can sort of I think I'm just going to get rid of this. So now we'll duplicate this. I'm clicking on the header, hitting Command D or Apple D, and we'll go back to the beginning. We'll hit Shift, hit the header again. Now we've got the whole thing that we've done. These 2 measures, or these 2 modes, sort of made into chords going twice. We've got a nice little pattern. In fact, we could actually get rid of these. We could take this, we could hit Option to duplicate it and drag it over after we click on the header. So now we've gone back to the 1 chord, or C, from the first mode, and then we could go up here now to the 5th. So this is C, B, A, G. Maybe this is a C chord again. So what we'll do is we don't need these two. These look like they're both C's 1 octave higher. So we know that we need G. So we can build our G scale with G mixolydian, right? And then we can take every second note away, right? So we've left the 1st, the 3rd, and the 5th. And now we can take all these 3 notes and continue to make our nice little patterns. So we can go 1, and what we're doing is we're just going up to 5, 3, right? And then we can continue to play with that. There's a nice little pattern based on the 5th mode, which is mixolydian. And we can duplicate that, and then that can bring us back to, so now we have an 8 measure pattern. Okay, this is very common in a popular song. Even jazz songs, all sorts of popular funk songs and disco songs. It doesn't really matter the style. It's very common to have 8 measures be ample for the chord progression, you know. So here we have, we've basically built this with 3 chords from our modes, the 1st, the 4th, and the 5th. So this is a very sort of rudimentary, popular pattern. And we haven't done anything special. We've just made a little arpeggio. There's the 4th. Back to the 1st. That's the 5th. And then the whole thing repeats. And you can play around with all sorts of different concepts. Like because we're in MIDI, I'm actually doing the wrong thing here. It's at 120 beats per minute, which is the default in Luna. But I could increase the tempo to 180. Let's listen to that. It's interesting. So it does sound a bit rigid to me, to be honest. So what I'd like to do is go here and we could play with it a little bit more. So what do we have this defaulted to? Each measure, we're just playing with 8th notes. So we've got 8 beats in the bar, right? So I'm going to bring this back down to 120. Okay. And what I will do is I will hit Shift and plus. Now our grid here, you can see, is defaulted to 16th notes. Okay, so we can add some spice in here. Now that we've got the main sort of arpeggio of the chord that we're playing with, we can add other scale notes from the C major scale. Let's try it. Let's just pepper some of these ideas with extra 16th notes, okay, from the scale, and just see what happens. Okay, now we're going to go up to the header, click it. Okay, now what we're noticing there is something that I should talk about. There's a gliss, sort of a glissando effect, where it's like a pitch bend rather than a clean note. And the reason is because the 8th note is longer, so this 16th note is happening at the same time as the other note, and because it's monophonic, it's gliding up. So if we switched these and made them the same length as the 16th note, presumably that gliss sound should go away. Let's listen. Oh, here we still have a gliss because of this guy down here. So now I'm sort of wanting to hear this more notey melody. And you can literally play, as long as the C is on the bass, you can play with any note here and its placement on the C scale, right? Any of the white keys. Let's try that. I want to try that. And we can get rid of that next C measure. We know it's C. And we can duplicate this. Now, so now we've got maybe a slightly more interesting pattern here. And we can do the same with the next mode. We know this is built off of the 4th note of the scale, which is F, right? So we can actually highlight all of these and shrink them down to 16ths. And now we can pepper this pattern with 16th notes and just see what our little arpeggio sounds like. Let's listen to this. Let's keep the rhythm the same. So we will get rid of this note and we'll extend this. We'll keep the first note as an 8th note to sort of give our bass. Now, I don't know that I want to keep this descending sound. Let's try this. So now we've got a second measure. It's maybe not perfect in my heart right yet, but it's going to have to do. And now we can go back to the first, right? This is back to C, and we can highlight all of these. And actually, you know what we can do? We can actually get rid of this entire measure, and then we can go back to the start, and we can take this. We can actually shrink the whole window down a little bit by using our R key. And now we've gone back to the start. We're going to highlight it by clicking on the header, hit Option on the keyboard, on my typing keyboard, click the header again, and drag a duplicate of the first chord over. And get rid of our second C chord and duplicate that again. So now we've got the first chord, like C, C, F, F, C, C. And now this would be G, G over here. But let's listen up until that point. See, that's back to the 8th note pattern. So let's go in and have a little bit of fun here. We'll mess with the 8th notes. So we can highlight them all. There must be a way of doing it. I'm just going to use the sort of lasso function here and shrink them into 16s. That's bizarre, but I don't know what I did. That was so strange. What did I do? Sounds like so short. So I'm gonna. Oh, maybe. Have we already done? This is the C again. Yeah, we've already done those. So what we want to do is let's go here. Highlight these dudes and shrink them down to 16th notes, right? So we'll keep the first beat as an eighth, and now we will pepper this with additional 16th notes. Doesn't really matter if it's not like the most artful melody right now. And then what we can do is get rid of the second measure and we can dupe this one. And now I think that brings us to the eighth measure, so we've done it. So we've done 8 measures of arpeggios, just using the first, the fifth, and the fourth chords. 1, 4, 5 actually, we'll just call it. And now we can listen to it. Okay, so let's have a little bit of fun with this. We can expand it. That's not the fun I was intending. Is what we can do now is we can add another track. So what I'm going to do is go up here, hit the plus sign, and I'm going to add a second instrument track to my recording. It'll take a little while for Luna to cook the track up. What happens is there's little creatures in your computer, and they start baking, and they just literally put the track inside the oven. And no, that is not how it works. I wasn't cooking it. There it is. So here we go. Here's the track. We have a secondary track. Let's go in and add some drums. I'm just going to hit a random kit here, like maybe this one, this analog drum set, and we'll just call it drums. Now, all of you that have been following along in these tutorials, and if you're lost a little bit, go back and watch the first 3 episodes of this, sort of creating a basic beat in Luna. So now what I'm going to do is, we know that these are set to 16th notes, so there's 16. So I'm just going to do a basic kick and snare pattern. So on every quarter note, right, every 4 little 16ths, we're going to do, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So now we've got a little simple kick, snare, kick, snare. This is the oldest trick in the book. So let's get a little hi-hat groove going, a little 8th note pattern. And now we've got a nice little simple drum beat going with the synthesizer. So for the sake of fun, I'm going to duplicate that kick and snare beat all the way to the end. We'll just highlight it, and we can just listen to it. And that's just on loop. So what could happen? Well, we could add anything we want, really. We could continue. Let's do one more, just for fun, and we'll add a bass track, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up and I'm going to add another instrument track. The weird beings in my computer will cook up the track, and we will go here and we'll find a nice bass sound. Let's use compressed DI bass. I have no idea what that bass is, whether it sounds good or not, and I don't care, to be honest. We're going to just have some fun using whatever it sounds like. Okay, so we've got, so what we could do is we could do a simple 8th note pattern. right? And just, something's wrong there. Undo. I'm going to actually, let's do this. See, here's a classic thing. I was sort of going to start mousing it heavily there, but what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use my little trick that I've been teaching you. Is I'm going to subtract the lines by hitting Shift minus sign. Now we're back to eighth notes, which is what I want to create. I double click on this little empty space on C2, and now I can just duplicate for C, right? And then we can actually duplicate that whole track. And now we've got a simple bass line, just the bass player is just playing eighth notes. And now for the next measure, we know that we go up to F, right? So, and we can just do the same process. And we can duplicate that measure on F. And then so let's see here what we've got. Then the next measure goes back to C again, so we can actually take our C key. So we've highlighted C again, hit Option, drag it over, hit Duplicate. Now we've got C again, and now we need something for G, right? And we can just duplicate that to our heart's content and simply paste it. And now we've got, I guess, the basic frameworks of a song, really, right? Now, one thing that I'm noticing that I don't like about that bass sound is that the bass is blending too much. It's not. It's taking away from the percussiveness of the drum beat. So let's highlight all of these. Let's change our grid value by adding a plus sign, and let's expand the keys by hitting our T key, and now we can shrink them all down to 16th notes. They should be shorter sounding. There we go. Now we've got that nice percussive sound. And now actually, if we want to continue to have fun, which we always do when we're playing with music. Oh, that's a weird thing. We've got a little missing. There we go. So now that is playing, and now that we've got the bass highlighted down here, we can go back into shape. We can use that little trick with the up or down arrows. We can toggle through the different bass sounds that we have here in shape. Oh, there we go. Well, that sounds way more funky. Guys, I hope you really liked that tutorial. We love making them for you. If you have any interest in the school and you want to study here in person or set up some private lessons, just join us at info@beyondthebeat. Come to our website, send us an email, and we'll be happy to help you. Okay, stay cool, stay groovy, like the channel, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and stay in time.